Tonight from Elmont High School, it's a Conference 2 matchup. The Elmont Spartans take on the MacArthur Generals. Both teams are looking to make a move in the standings, and the action is next on Cablevision's Long Island Sports Network. Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Stan Kellner at noisy Elmont High School, where the Spartans are going to take on the Generals. And they had a couple of scrappy ball clubs. What kind of ball game do you expect tonight?
Well, we're going to have a tough ball club. What's going to happen tonight is both teams are going to push the ball up the court. Both teams have to win the battle off the boards, and both teams have what I call a WIT, whatever it takes to win. They shouldn't be 3-2, but the Spartans and the Generals are 3-2, and they both have franchise ball players to go to.
Well, MacArthur's not very big. Their biggest player is 6'2", and he's the franchise player, having an outstanding season, Brian Marshall.
Oh, Brian Marshall, great hands, great in the clutch. He's won the last two ball games, Barry, against Garden City and Lawrence off the foul line. He's a kind of a kid that will run the offense, get inside, and get 10 boards a ball game. 26 points a game. He's going to see a lot of garbage tonight in terms of a triangle and two and a box and one and all this other stuff. He can score.
Well, the Elmont Spartans have a little more size. They like to run. I watched them the other day lose to a great Sewantica ball club. They do have a franchise player, and his name is Matt Doyle.
Old-fashioned. A half a step slower, he'll be a Division I player. Can hit the three. A little bit under the weather right now, Barry. He's got the flu. But he'll play great because he has to play great. A WIT player, whatever it takes, Matt Doyle. Watch him.
All right, so the stage is set for tonight's showdown. Paul Reuter returns with the coaches in just a moment. Courtside with the coaches before the start of today's game. To my right, Elmont coach Dave Kinsley in his first year. We'll talk to him in just a moment. First, let's talk to Anthony Goss, coach of MacArthur. And Anthony, it was a tough start for you. Lost your first 6, but now the ball club has turned it around, won 3 straight, most importantly in the league. Why the turnaround?
I believe right now the kids have really started to focus and concentrate on playing some good basketball. Our shooting in all areas has improved, and our defense has really done the job for us these past couple of games.
Who's been your go-to guy in this winning streak?
Brian Marshall has been our go-to guy all year. He's really done a nice job on both ends of the floor. But on the offensive end, he's really started to turn it up from the field and from the foul line.
What about tonight's game against Elmont? What do you have to do to stop them?
I believe that we really need to do the job on the boards effectively. If we can keep them off the boards, they're an aggressive rebounding team. If we can keep them off the boards, I think we'll have a shot tonight.
Anthony, good luck in tonight's ball game.
Thank you.
All right, let me turn around here to the big guy in his first year, taking some ribbing from the coach, Stan Kellner, but we won't talk about that, Dave Kinsley. Good balance from your starting 5 this year.
Yeah, the team has been, I've got 3 people that have been in the teams most of the games, Desmond Horn, Matt Doyle, and O'Neill Gooden. And Gooden being a 10th grader, I'm very pleased with his output. So nice balance. The other guys have been kicking in 6 or 7, 8 points, so it's been nice.
What's been the hardest thing in this your first year coaching Elmont?
I don't know, maybe the more attention that I'm getting, that I'm a varsity coach rather than JV coach. This, for example, television, newspapers, but the practices and the relationship with the kids is the same.
Anthony mentioned the aggressive rebounding of Elmont. Do you feel that is key for you to win tonight?
Yeah, basically we like to run the ball, especially if MacArthur's going to miss. We like to run the ball on misses. And our practices, we spend about a good hour just running and playing a freelance type of break. It's somewhat organized, but it's freelance. That way they're used to it. When the ball goes up, they know what to do.
All right, Dave, good luck in tonight's game. I'm going to tell you one thing about Stan Kellner. He's getting on your case for having not worn a tie in tonight's game.
Right.
Last year, Stan forgot to bring a sports coat to the game, and he was on camera all throughout, so you know where he's coming from.
I'll use that later on him.
All right, very good, Dave. Good luck in tonight's game. Dave Kinsley, Anthony Goss, the coaches for tonight's game. Now Stan and Barry will be back with the opening tip right after this timeout. You're watching Cablevision's coverage of high school basketball. Well, hi again, everybody. I'm Barry Landers, along with Stan Kellner and Carl Reuter here at Elmont High School as this Conference 2 showdown gets ready to go. And how about that MacArthur lineup, Stan? Good balance. We've got to look for Garrett Waller, put in some points along with Joe Messner.
Well, watch McLaughlin and Messner off the boards.
And for Elmont, we look at Matt Doyle leading the way, but Desmond Horn and O'Neill Gooden, a couple of guys who could fill it up. Up front, they've got a good front court.
Watch the sophomore. Was on a JV with Dave Kingsley's club last year. but he's taken over. 14 points last year on the JV, 15 points, 9 reebs as a sophomore on the varsity. Impressive.
And that's the good-looking sophomore, O'Neal Gooden. The officials working today's game, the fine veteran official Joe Poder, working along with Joe Scheibel. And a very important game, Stan, because only 15 teams of the 30 B schools make it to the playoffs this year as they cut the number down. So these two teams coming in, Elmont 3-2 in league play, MacArthur 3-2, a very important game.
You may have to do better than win 50% of your ball games to make the playoffs. But right now, both teams sit very well. Both teams, Barry, are very well. They're respected now. But are you going to stay respected? You have to win this ball game.
Brian Marshall will be jumping center for the Generals. The ball tapped, and the Generals have it. They're a ball club that doesn't turn it over much. Brian Marshall throwing it down court. Some box in one, triangle in two. They may be working against the General star, Brian Marshall. We will identify the players as we go. Number 52 is Bobby Rudini. He's a fine football player, the quarterback. Doesn't score, but he's a leader on the court. That's Rudini out there, number 52. Picked up by O'Neal Gooden. And how about the defense, Stan, starting it off?
It is a box and one, and Roldan for the Spartans is playing Brian Marshall man-to-man.
Just as I mentioned, Bobby Rudini doesn't shoot. He averages only 2 points a game, and the outstanding all-conference football player drills the first shot of the game.
It's great to start off with a bucket on first time down, especially when your main man, Brian Marshall, is being guarded face-to-face.
Both clubs not high-scoring clubs. Elmont comes off a loss to Sewanaka. And as you heard, this Generals team of MacArthur has won 3 in a row after opening the season, dropping their first 6. But they were plagued by poor free throw shooting in a lot of those early games. Good missing the shot. The follow inside is good. And that's something they're going to have to do a better job on, MacArthur. They're smaller. They're going to have to do a job on the boards as Desmond Horn scored that bucket.
They're playing man-to-man. Elmont's playing his zone press right now, but Desmond Horn got around his man to get the board on that play.
So Bobby Rudini swings it into the corner. That's Tommy McLaughlin for the jumper. Way off. But the rebound stolen by MacArthur and put up, and a foul as Garrett Waller, the 6'85" senior, number 33, the all-conference baseball player, gets fouled. Dave Kingsley quickly going to make a substitution. He doesn't like what he's seeing, and he's going to make a substitution here as big number 53, Steve Core, is checking into the ball game. And going to be sitting down right now is O'Neal Gooden, I believe.
Garrett Waller is on a free throw line. He draws the fouls because he goes very hard to the basket. He's a 1-2 dribble driver to the basket, but he does draw the fouls.
And the free throw is good by Waller, 58%. Interestingly enough, MacArthur started shooting the season very poorly at the free throw line. Of late in league play, 75% for a high school team, Stan.
That's impressive in league play because that's where the pressure is. And if you can shoot under pressure, you can shoot anytime.
They're not a great outside shooting team. Only Marshall will take the threes for them. This is Doyle penetrating nicely. And here's a guy who will draw a lot of fouls. He's just at a throwback stand. He's the best athlete in the school. He's very smart, sees the floor, coachable. The quarterback on the football team, Mr. Doyle.
And he's a great, Matt is a great lacrosse player. He's probably going to go to Syracuse. Hasn't committed, maybe verbally committed to Syracuse, but that's his number one sport.
Rudini drew the foul. Doyle will show his three-point shooting off, but the rebound hunted down, and back out it'll go to Doyle. We'll identify the players as we go. Nelson Roldan is 51.
Generals in a 2-3 zone, playing man-to-man the previous set.
From the corner, Roldan way short, but again they come up with an offensive rebound wrestled away by MacArthur's Bobby Rudini. A couple of great football players, Rudini and Doyle, going head-to-head here. Quick drive along the baseline, would not drop that time for Joe Messner. And out of bounds is the call as the official underneath, Joe Scheibel, makes the call. But a strong drive to the basket that time by Joe Messner.
They drive to the basket a lot. They're not really a great perimeter shooting ball club other than Brian Marshall.
Quickly down court, Doyle gets contact, and the foul will be called on Brian Marshall. It'll be his first and the second team foul.
Generals are reaching in on defense, Barry. They're not playing with their feet. They're not playing position. They're going to get into foul trouble early. And in a ball game like this where you're looking for edges, you don't want to lose a ball game from the free throw line.
So it'll be triggered in by Doyle. The alley-oop play inside for Gooden. And out of bounds it goes. Gooden, a skywalker at 6'2". Nice jump shot. He'll be a player, but he's young, Stan. Coming out of a lot of park ball. Not a player with a lot of discipline.
Getting the discipline, too. And that's one of the reasons why Dave Kingsley's there. He's been teaching discipline.
A lot of pressure, but they were able to get it across. And they'll settle it down. This is a smart ball club. They don't take bad shots. That's the only guy that really shoots from outside, Brian Marshall. But again, they hunt that ball down. Garrett Waller in the lane. Gets rejected by Gooden. Gooden makes a nice save into his teammate's arm, Steve Core. Almost a double dribble, a discontinued dribble is Dennis Peterson. Peterson starting for their normal point guard stand, and we'll see how Elmont reacts without Patrick Pierre, who's not here today.
Well, I think he's out of town. In fact, he may be in the Netherlands, and that's the truth.
What a story that is, Stan.
He's in an organization called the UN, Model UN, and he's really in the Netherlands for the week.
A fine student, Patrick Pierre. Bobby Rudini won't take many shots. From the corner, Joe Messner missing. And the rebound pulled down by Gooden. He's had 3 rebounds already. This is Dennis Peterson, who has replaced Pierre in the lineup. Out of bounds it goes, and it'll still be Elmont ball. Both clubs struggling in the early going. Maybe a little tentative with the TV cameras here, Stan.
But I'm impressed with the fact that Elmont's playing very quick on the boards. And one thing Anthony Goss, the second-year coach for the Generals, realizes his team has to play tough off the boards. And right now they're getting beaten to the ball.
Elmont 1 for 6 from the field. They'll try a shot here and finally hit. Desmond Horn, averaging 14 points. The junior who runs hot and cold. Boy, when he's hot, he is red hot.
He's just coming off of a big ball game. And I say big really sarcastically because he only scored 1 point and he has to score.
Stripped to the ball on that drive was McLaughlin. Doyle penetrating in the lane with a soft shot, gets the roll. And Elmont with the lead right now as they've opened up the lead of 6-3 with 4:19 to go. Now they'll press all over the court here, Stan. Little trap.
And they'll match up when they come down.
Brian Marshall fouled as he went up. Nelson Roldan was there. In talking to Anthony Goss, the young coach, the 28-year-old coach of MacArthur, he said, we like teams to press us because I've got good ball handlers. I've got 5 little guys out there that can handle the ball. And we can take advantage, as you see, Goss, the former William Floyd player, a Suffolk County young man. Looks like he's almost ready to play high school ball there, but he's 28 years of age. He's been
28 years old, very committed, very dedicated to the game of basketball. Great opportunity for him. And he's got 5 kids that really like to play together. And they do hit the open man. Making the open shot is another thing from outside.
Elmont will bring it up. Doyle against the pressure of Joe Messner. Messner, good defensive player. Excellent finisher on the break. Doyle with a nice change of pace move there. Missed the shot. Follows, gets hammered as he goes up. So Matt Doyle will draw a couple of free throws here.
So far, they don't really, I'm talking about the Spartans, miss Patrick Pierre. Matt Doyle is playing the point position. He's a very heady kid, and he's getting inside. He's getting inside number 21, Joe Messner. And if Joe Messner cannot control Matt Doyle, although does not shoot well from the free throw line, draws a lot of fouls. He's a tough kid to handle.
I believe that last foul was on Bobby Rudini, number 52. Way short is Doyle, who normally shoots at 60%. They'd like to improve their free throw shooting. They're only shooting 60% as a team. We'll get a substitution here right now for Elmont. Dennis Peterson back in the ball game. And sitting down will be number 53, Steve Coor. Doyle makes 1 of 2, and the lead is 4 for Elmont. 3:53 to go. Good defense. They knock it away. They'll get a chippy here, and it's laid up and in by Desmond Horn. 7 straight points, Stan.
The reason he finished that play was the fact that he was a rotation guy on the press. He was open.
Now they'll come up with another steal. Doyle anticipating. So MacArthur giving it up twice here. 4th shot up, rims out that time as it was taken by O'Neal Gooden. And we'll get a foul in the backcourt called by the official Joe Schreibel.
Barry, the Spartans definitely have the edge on quickness. And what's happening now is Brian Marshall is really a non-entity in this ball game. He's not getting the ball. And when you're scoring 26 points a ball game and there's nobody else on the club that's hitting double figures, that means the offense has got to get back into the groove, and the ball's got to get into Brian's hands. The zone press is really working. The quickness of Elmont. I don't really know the last time MacArthur played Elmont. They're in the same conference, but they have not played, as far as I know, my short memory.
Looking at the last three Elmont games, they won over Mepham, cliffhanger over West Hempstead. This is a tough league, won by 4 of a good West Hempstead team. And then Sewantica just blew them out, 77-55, with the big guy, Mr. Hamilton, having a big field day. And MacArthur, 3 straight wins there. And as you mentioned, cliffhangers in the last 2, with Brian Marshall hitting big free throws.
Well, the reason the league is set up where there's a conference, too, with 14 teams, Barry, you want parity. And parity means close games. You know, ADs aren't really concerned, or schools aren't concerned who wins as much as let it be a great game where it's a learning game and not a blowout for one team. And that's what this conference is creating.
And I want to thank the fine people here at Elmont for hosting the big doubleheader. You will, of course, at a later time see the Sewantica Great Neck South game, which will be played here. And nice people here at Elmont High School. I want to thank them for their hospitality. So play underway here. As let's see what the Generals do here, trailing in the ball game by a 9-3 margin. 7 straight points for Elmont. How about the defense now?
Generals are 1-3-1, and they cannot get the ball to Brian Marshall. And as long as the ball stays out of his hands, Elmont Spartans are going to have a decided advantage.
5 turnovers so far for MacArthur. Joe Messner throwing that one away. Messner trying to guard the very tough Doyle. He gives up a couple of inches in height.
Good, tough man-to-man defense. Nice pressure, but it's clean and positioned.
Work it now in the lane. And it would not drop for Desmond Horn. Out of bounds it goes. And Joe Podair says it's MacArthur ball. So
oh, God, from Gooden Sky. Did you see him jump on that last rebound?
He's a big-time jumper at 6'2". He plays like 6'5". We'll get a substitution right now for MacArthur. They're not very deep, but they'll make a change as Bobby Verdini sits down. And we'll pick up the substitution for you in a moment. They're having trouble with the ball. And now they get it to Anthony Recifuto, number 11 in the game. And they'll get the bucket here. They needed that one. Garrett Waller breaking that 7-point run for Elmont.
MacArthur forcing that ball up the court. They are not bringing the ball up to set up their offense. They're bringing it up to score, and that's what happened with Waller ending it up with a bucket.
Desmond Peterson off to O'Neal Gooden. Contact. And Joe Podair says, no basket. I've got a blocking foul called. And it'll go against Tommy McLaughlin, number 10. Could have been the charge either way, Stan, but Joe Podair was right on it. He had the angle. Let's take another look.
I'm taking a look. His feet were set. You see what you look for. The feet being set are by the defensive player before the offensive player leaves the floor. And in that case, it was a bang-bang shot. And I guess if Joe Podair had another choice, he'd call it the same way.
Knocked away Peterson with the opportunity basket as it was knocked into his arms. And the senior, Dennis Peterson, averaging only 4 points, comes up with the bucket. And the lead is 6 once again, 11-5, with 2:10 to go in this first quarter.
Outstanding move by Peterson Dennis on that baseline.
And as he penetrated no basket, Brian Marshall, who had a high of 36 in one game this year, gets fouled. It'll be a non-shooting foul. And it'll be the 3rd foul on Roldan, Stan. That's important for Elmont because, as we mentioned, they're minus one of their players, Patrick Pierre, although Pierre plays in the backcourt and Roldan a front court player.
And one of the most, a really tough defensive player on the Generals.
Oh, O'Neal Gooden with a rejection on that shot. Woo! Again, he rejects the shot by Marshall. And the fans ignite here off their 2 rejections by O'Neal Gooden, the Skywalker sophomore at 6'2". He's hot lately. Misses the shot, gets his rebound, fall-away shot, and he draws a foul. So O'Neal Gooden put on a little bit of a show right now.
But the one thing he's not doing is using the glass. Take a look at the athletic prowess by the Spartans inside. O'Neal Gooden is doing it at both ends of the court. And it's if you don't get it the first time, try again. But he's always there, number 41. Very impressive performance by the 185-pound sophomore.
McLaughlin committed the foul, and Gooden with the free throw. And this is the largest lead they've enjoyed so far tonight, 12-5, as we'll get an Elmont substitution right here. Number 44, Dennis Sherrard, the 5'9", 130-pound sophomore, averaging 2 points, has checked into the ball game. Good defender, Stan. What else can you tell us about?
Well, he's a fine
Sherrard?
point guard, but you know he's going to be coming along. He's a sophomore, getting a lot of playing time. He's learning, only averaging 2 points a game.
Messner with his club trailing by 7. Slow start here for the Generals.
Good pressure and good hand pressure on the ball.
Waller from outside, no good. Usually he's their inside player. At 6 foot, he's broad-shouldered at 185, so he plays bigger than 6 feet.
You can see that the Spartans are really pumped up for this game. They're really skying in this ball game, and they're very, very quick defensively.
Minute 10 to go from the corner. They got it to the man they wanted, Brian Marshall. He misses. Good offensive rebound. And from outside again, the shot missed by Chris Etuart, number 23, who's checked into the ball game. Etuart, a good shooter from the outside, one of their better shooters. In fact, they've got 2 of their better shooters coming off the bench stand and playing as subs right now in Recifuto and Etuart. Knocked away, goes into the backcourt. It'll be picked up by Doyle.
Generals are staying with their man-to-man defense, but the quickness of Elmont is really giving them an edge that's going to be hard to beat.
Doyle forced that one. 3-on-2 break. Let's see if they can convert. No. They throw it away. Brian Marshall with the turnover. That's the 6th turnover. Make it the 7th turnover. And MacArthur shooting 2 for 9 from the field. Combine that with 7 turnovers, you can see why they have only 5 points.
And the turnover is a result of I see the game as a speedometer almost. And what's happening right now is Elmont's playing at a certain speed, 60 miles an hour, and you're seeing MacArthur playing about 40 miles an hour. And what happens is that strips some of the efficiency of your skills when you have to play up to 60 miles an hour, and you're not used to that.
Mark Leva was fouled on that last play. And it'll be taken out of bounds by Elmont with 22 seconds to go. Tony Goss not pleased with his club's early showing here. They've struggled from the field, and they've had trouble with that defense that has been right in their faces.
I think they had trouble with the traffic coming in. They were a half an hour late coming into the gym, and it's tough coming out off of a bus and then getting into in a situation like this.
Desmond Horn puts back the missed shot by O'Neal Gooden, and with 6 seconds to go, they've got a chance for a shot here. The shot from the baseline will not go, and the first quarter has come to an end. So MacArthur finds themselves down right now, 14-5 at the end of 1. Elmont looking good in the early going before the home fans. Back with second quarter action in just a moment. Well, they're happy that we're here, and we're happy to be here at Elmont High School. The fans enjoying the action. Spartans 5-4 in the year, 3-2. And boy, under Donnie Locks, they had some great teams here, Stan, didn't they, at Elmont?
And they look like they're going to return to some prominence here in the county. Tommy Crimmins was their coach for 5 years and did a nice job. Dave Kingsley comes in with enthusiasm. He has a great presence. Doesn't have to wear a tie, can wear a sweater. But the interesting thing is he has a dress code for his players. They have to wear a tie and jacket, but he suffocates with a tie, he told me.
And you know him well, Stan, because I think he played in the last game you coached when you coached at CW.
A great player, and if he would have gotten that ball in the last 30 seconds, we would have lost that ball game.
All right, let's see if Gooden can get on track here. Nope, misses. Let's see if they can cash off the break, but almost turned it over. Finally picked up by Marshall, who is having his problems, has not scored a point so far, and you know he's due. They won't get that shot from the corner by Recifuto, so they're shooting horribly here. This MacArthur club, normally not a great shooting team, shooting 44%. But they generally take high percentage shots, then within 15 feet.
And normally they hustle off the boards. Although they're not big, they do get second shots. They're not getting any tonight.
Doyle, kind of interesting that Doyle has only 3 points. And Marshall has none, our 2 highlight players. It's been other people, especially Horn with 8 points, leading the way for the Spartans.
But I think Doyle is getting involved in a game, and he's distributing the ball.
That's the man with the 8 points, Horn, number 33. Back out to Gooden. Gooden will take the jumper, short, but again, Horn comes up with a rebound. Boy, Desmond Horn really lighting it up with double figures. He has 10 points, averaging 14 on the year, and it is now a total of 16-5.
We watched Horn against Sewanee Barry scoring 1 point. He's very hot. He's very excited. And he's tough to be denied tonight.
Reversed up by Marshall, no good. And the rebound pulled down by Leva, number 50. Mark Leva, the 5'9 junior guard, who can rebound and play scrappy, tough defense. Dive for loose balls.
If you're building a program like Dave Kingsley is over at Elmont, what you got to do is play a lot of people. You got to get them involved. And that's what he's doing. He's 8, 9, 10 deep.
That's a good point, Stan. That's exactly what he's doing. Doyle working one-on-one against Messner. Good defense by Messner. But Doyle able to draw the contact and gets fouled. So Matty Doyle will go to the free throw line right here. MacArthur, by the way, shooting 2 for 12 here in the first half.
Of course, they're cold, coming off a cold bus. But you've got to appreciate the defense by the Spartans. They are playing very tough. They're switching defenses. They start off with a box and one. They play the 1-3-1. They play the 2-3. They play the man-to-man. They're playing very, very physical.
4 points for Doyle, averaging 19. And he buries both free throws. He had a high game of 25 against Sewanee in their last game, in which they lost 77-55. Time out on the court right now, taken by the Elmont Spartans. And Spartans looking awfully good right now as they have the lead of 18-5.
You know, whenever you talk, Barry, about a team that's coming to play, they're playing on defense. Let's take a look at this banner. Excellence in education.
And they're very proud of that here at Elmont High School, the federal award that they received. It's one of the older school districts right around the border. In case you're not sure, a couple of lovely young ladies scouting and I guess scoring the game, a couple of the scorers. And we hope that you're enjoying the action here on the Long Island Sports Net. Next week we've got a dandy doubleheader coming up, and we love the Elmont fans as well here. Plainview JFK will be playing at Freeport, Stan, and Syosset, or rather Plainview JFK is playing at Freeport today, but we'll see them next week when they take on Syosset. And then Baldwin will meet Long Beach. That should be a good game. Long Beach, perhaps the best A team right now in Nassau County, 6-0. They've only one loss this year to Roosevelt by a point, and taking on a good Mike Cohn's team, Baldwin, which we saw earlier in the year. You and I had a game.
Long Beach coming off a big win against Farmingdale last night, Carlson Valley's ball club. But, you know, we were talking about coming to play. Teams come to play on defense, and Elmont has obviously come to play because they are playing very tough defense.
Well, that's the guy they've got to get going. Their leader, Brian Marshall, his first two, he averages 26 points. Almost 40% of his team's offense. And Marshall on the board for the first time. Mark Leva. Now they go into a little bit of what? Zone stand?
It's a 3-2.
3-2. Looking for help is Doyle.
Doubling out on the outside panels.
Leva forces a bad shot up. Batted around, but it comes right into the arms of Gooden. He'll reverse it up and in.
The man with two last names, O'Neill Gooden. I mean, he is doing it all. Remember this, he's a sophomore. Played only one organized year of basketball last year. Learned to play the game in the park, learning discipline from Coach Kingsley.
O'Neill Gooden having quite a ball game, tapped away by the quick hands of Elmont. Gooden with 8 points, and Desmond Horn also having an outstanding ball game. Horn has 10. So they have combined for 18 of their team's points. Now they'll swing it around. MacArthur, Randy Leake, the freshman in the game, number 44 for MacArthur, and they turn it over once again. So the Generals with 7 turnovers here in the first half, and along with the poor shooting, it has really killed them, Stan.
Great rotation on the defense, again by the Spartans, to double up Brian Marshall on that baseline and to make that forced pass.
Let me change Gooden's figures now to 3 points instead of 8. He lost 5 points very quickly there, Stan. Kind of reminiscent of what happened yesterday in a ball game that Joe Poder ref. Good defensive play that time by Recevuto, number 23, and down court. They're unable to convert as the missed shot was by Recevuto. But it was Chris Etuart who made the fine defensive play, number 23, and took it away from a pretty good ball player, Matt Doyle.
Brian Marshall with second effort on the glass drew the foul, but the ball's just not dropping in. What happens when you play against a fired-up Elmont team, what you have to do is you have to find within yourself the strength. And what happens is you start to over-try. You go at 10 speed. 10 speed is too intense, and you lose your touch off the glass. And that's what happened to Brian Marshall on that putback.
Marshall looking for point number 4, and he's got it, shooting 72% from the line. And in his last 2 ball games, 25 for 28. How's that for shooting on any level, Stan, from the free throw line?
And most of those were clutch buckets. You know, MacArthur has to get scoring from every position on the court to win a ball game. Foul line, inside, and the open floor.
And on the alternate possession arrow, the ball will go over to the Generals. A lot of battling going on inside. As we mentioned, MacArthur, a scrappy small club. They were the 8th seed in this very tough conference, too, and a lot of people surprised that they've done so well so far, winning those last 3 games in a row, but right now trailing by 11.
They're feisty, they're scrappy, as you pointed out, but they're being out-feisted and out-scrapped by a quicker, stronger ball club.
Waller drawing the foul inside as he had the shot blocked by Desmond Horn. This Elmont team will be a very good team by the end of the season. They've got a lot of young players that they are giving a chance to. O'Neal Gooden, certainly as a sophomore, stand, picked up his 3rd foul, and that's going to be a factor in the game. He's going to have to sit down right now. Dave Kingsley going to make a move any second now, as Waller will get another free throw. And we'll get a couple of substitutions right now. Joe Girardi, the big guy, number 54, will check into the ballgame. 6'4", 260-pound senior, who was the starting center earlier in the season. He's checked back into the ballgame along with Dennis Sherrard, number 44.
The thing about Girardi, Barry, is the fact that he is big and he is strong, but he's only drawn 1 free throw all season long. He's got to get more physical and lean on people both offensively and defensively.
MacArthur's got to do a better job with those free throws. They missed a couple here that could have closed the margin. Nice pass by Doyle. Beautiful pass to Desmond Horn and made himself available. Beautiful at both ends.
Great cut to the basket. I call that a winning cut. And that's what happens when you're in your groove.
Recibuto will hit the shot. Or check it, Chrissy Tuart, the sophomore, averaging 3.5 points with his first bucket. One of their better outside shooters.
Oh, he's got the range, and somebody has to step forward for the Generals.
Work it inside to the big guy, Girardi. Back out. Doyle drives strong to the hoop. No good. Batted around and into the arms of Anthony Recibuto. On the fast break. Back it'll go to Marshall, and he travels. Not a good pass inside to Marshall, and had nowhere to go. And we'll get a timeout on the court right now.
Coaches so many times say when you feed the ball off, step to the ball. And what happened was Brian Marshall, cut to the basket and put himself out of position.
The Generals with 8 turnovers as we have a timeout on the court, and Elmont leads this one. We'll be right back. Shades McCallahan over there, perhaps.
That's a Carl Reuter lookalike.
Hi there, that young man. Hope you're enjoying the action. Dave Kingsley in his huddle. Dave, a former Delphi player, as we mentioned, was played 3 years under our good friend Jimmy Flanagan, Stan, and graduated in 1981. He was the captain at Adelphi, and he's currently a physical education and health and driver education teacher.
Very good, Barry. But you missed that he played for Marv Kessler, and that's where he learned a lot of his basketball.
That's right. And also went to Herrick's High School in 77. Graduate and played for Bobby Hoffman.
Dave Kingsley, this is your life.
All right. And back to the action here. Doyle has it knocked out of bounds. It'll still be Elmont ball. Elmont shooting 4 for 6 from the line. And MacArthur 3 for 6. Not much difference there. Here's Dennis Peterson, number 45, running the club at the point now. Doyle playing as an off guard. Leva from outside. And the rebound pulled down by the youngsters from MacArthur. That was Chris Tuart with the rebound.
Bad shot, and certainly nobody under the glass to help out.
Doyle spun out, batted back out. And Girardi will chase it down. So MacArthur continues to have their problems from the field. It's been all Elmont here with 2:20 to go.
And they're lucky they're only 11 down, the way they're playing.
Doyle 1 for 5 from the field. Will try to improve that, and he does with a three-pointer. He's had 35% from the three-point range this year, and Doyle ups the lead right now to 25-11, their largest lead of the ball game.
What I like about Matt Doyle is that he buries the three, but he sees the court so well.
And back comes Brian Marshall to hit a jumper. Marshall with 6 points. Girardi for the baseline jumper. Spun out, and Marshall the rebound. Up court, they look for Marshall on the break. He'll stop and pop, in and out. And again, no second chances here for MacArthur.
General's running the court much better, but it's the Elmont team that's running the court a notch quicker.
Now both teams pushing it up. Marshall will take it to the hole, contact with Peterson, and the foul will be on Peterson Dennis. I wanted to correct that name. Normally it's a first name, last name, but his name is Peterson Dennis, number 45. And Dave Kingsley's club starting to pick up some fouls, so he'll make a substitution here.
You know, if you take a look at this ball club, the Spartans, you've got most of them with two last names. Patrick Pierre, could be Pierre Patrick. Peterson Dennis, could be Dennis and Peterson. O'Neill Gooden. Nelson Roldan. And Desmond Horn. I mean,
very true, Stan. Brian Marshall with 6 points, 2 for 2 at the line, and now 3 for 3. Marshall worked on a weight training program to get stronger. He was about 165 pounds last year, as we have another MacArthur substitution. And we'll pick it up for you in just a moment.
Both Adelphi and Post are interested in Brian. He's a scorer.
Justin Lamhut, number 32, is checked into the ball game for MacArthur. He has seen very limited action this year. He's a small guard playing Dennis Sherrard. Both small guards. Peterson Dennis pulling up for the jumper. He's got it.
Oh, that was a nice drive. Looked like Peterson Dennis was going to go all the way, and he just pulled up with a very quick dribble.
He's hit his average on the year, 4 points. Bad pass that time. Chrissy Tuart trying to get it to the smallish player over there, the 5'7" guard, Justin Lamhut, just threw it too high. As second-year coach Anthony Goss, with a record of 8-20, looks on. 5-14 last year, but playing a lot better this year of late.
Elmont playing with 4 corners, and they're going to use the clock. 38 seconds left in the half.
And Sherrard will turn it over. Discontent palming violation will be called. And it's a chance now for MacArthur to get some points here, which have been hard to come by. They have only 15. Elmont with only 4 turnovers compared to 9 for MacArthur. Carl Reuter coming up at halftime with his special halftime report.
It's a 1-1-2 with number 44, Dennis Sherrod, playing the big guy, Brian Marshall. It's really like a triangle and one with a hat on it.
10 seconds left. Tuart, who's hit a couple of shots, will take the shot and bury it. A 2-pointer. He has 4 off the bench.
Sherrod's
2 seconds remaining. Sherrard not realizing the clock, and that will do it for the first half. So all in all, not that bad as they cut the deficit to 10, 27-17 after trailing by as many as, I think, 13 or 14 in the half.
Anthony Goss got to get his generals in the locker room, and they've got to decide how they're going to get Brian Marshall involved in the offense.
Right, Marshall, I believe, with only 6 points in the ball game. And that is the story at halftime as the teams head to the locker room. And Carl Reuter will return with Leo Fryer from Adelphi University as his special guest. Stay tuned. We'll begin the second half with Elmont in possession of the ball, leading by 10. Barry Landers along with the coach, Stan Kellner, who's recovered from that halftime session with Carl Reuter.
Well put, Barry.
Matt Doyle gets the pick. 8 points for the brilliant Matt Doyle over to O'Neill Gooden. Desmond Horn's been the hot hand. He fumbles the ball away. And MacArthur going to have to play tough like that, come up with those loose balls. They've got it right now. Tommy McLaughlin, who was scoreless, came up with that steal. And now a foul will be called on Peterson Dennis. And it'll be foul number 2 in the first team foul. And you're looking at Joe Messner with the interesting hairstyle there.
Just to have hair is interesting.
His dad is here tonight. Fine guy. I had a chance to chat with him. We did his younger brother, Mike Messner, who's a fine football and baseball player's game. MacArthur, of course, known as a great baseball program for many years in the Levittown area.
I spoke to Tony Goss at halftime, Barry, and he said we've got to get stronger on the boards. Prophetically, he said that before the ball game, we got to be strong on the boards. The team that wins the board's going to win this ball game. But he's got to get that second and third shot.
And he needs points from Joe Messner, who averages 8. That's his first bucket. He and McLaughlin, 2 starters, did not score in the first half. And Messner cuts that deficit now to 8 points, 27-19.
It's important for the Generals to go to the glass and have the opportunity to get a good shot. And then they got to pick it up on defense. They got to create turnovers. And they got to remember how the Spartans got that lead with the full court press.
Now they'll press in the backcourt a little bit. Messner picking up Doyle. Doyle will bring it across. And an excellent dribbler. Protects the ball well. Lobs it inside for Horn. Knocked away by Waller. Or checked that by Rudini. And the football player gave a little shoulder there, number 52, and helped knock that ball away.
Well, the Spartans got the lead with being very physical, and right now they've taken a page. The Generals have taken a page out of the Spartans' playbook.
Remember, they've been a come-from-behind team, winning the last 2 games in the closing seconds on free throws. So this is not an unfamiliar position for them to be behind.
You're scrappy, as you said, but they're tough, too.
Messner trying to get his offense going, and the 6-foot senior comes up with a bucket. His dad clapping right behind us. He has 4. He's a good all-around team player, Joe. Runs the floor well. Nice 12-foot shot.
On that shot, I think Messner was thinking backboard, but he'll take it.
At 10 in his last game against Lawrence, Joe. Peterson Dennis running the point with the absence of Patrick Pierre, the starting point guard who's away in Europe. Back out, Doyle.
Doyle's doing a great job.
Boy, to see he draws fouls, he's got that release stand, a little fake, and like the good athletes, he knows that knack of getting fouled.
Well, you know the key is that the fact that he controls speed. He doesn't really go at 100 miles an hour out in the court. He plays within himself, and he changes speeds very smartly.
That's Steve Core, number 53, the 6'1", 240-pound senior, averaging 3 points. Good defensive player, very physical, scrappy kid, as Doyle will get another free throw here. Now look at Matt Doyle. Good Division II player, they feel, but as far as basketball, but as you said, Stan, such a good lacrosse player that Syracuse, one of the top programs in the country, interested in him. Core got a good rebound, but threw up a brick, but it's deflected out of bounds by MacArthur. So it'll still be Elmont ball.
O'Neal Gooden's playing with 3 fouls inside, and if he becomes tentative off the glass, Spartans will lose a lot.
Oh, Gooden went strong to get that ball, but it knocked away. Quick hands. Look at Marshall try to keep it alive, and Rudini gets it up to Messner. He's got a man underneath. McLaughlin hammered by Peterson Dennis, and suddenly the Generals playing like foot soldiers here, scrappy in the trenches here.
You know, when I played basketball in Nassau County back in 1952, this was what a team looked like. Really, scrappy little guys that hustled, you know, not great basketball players, but tough kids that do not know how to quit.
Tommy McLaughlin going up and getting hammered. 40 years ago, Stan, this is your anniversary
40
year.
years
Has
ago.
Hicksville survived 40 years since you left?
40 years. You know, on that
My
team,
God.
we had a great basketball team, and one of our players passed away. And somebody said to us, well, the first one to go from your club, coach.
You're on defense now. Joe, you have 3, so you're going to have to switch with Bobby. He's got 3. Okay? Make that switch. Give him some room. Deny the penetration. Okay, don't really rush you from that side. And give good help. Come on, come on. That's fine.
Anthony Goss at William Floyd and at Portland State. He was an assistant out at William Floyd and an assistant for 3 years at MacArthur. In his second year, good eye contact. Stan seemed to be in control of that.
And I like what he was talking about. He was talking defense. I mean, here's a team that was struggling offensively, but he realizes his club has to do things and make things happen on defense.
They have to get some. They're not a great shooting club. They've got to get some easy baskets off the defense.
They're not really a quick team either. But, you know, if you're looking for one word to personify this club, it is scrappy. They just hang in there, and every catch, every pass is a battle.
5 straight points, and Tommy McLaughlin trying to give his club lift here. He's a 61% free throw shooter. Misses the second, but alertly they come up with it. Messner to Waller. Good pass, good rotation of the ball. Open for the push shot, and it rolled out was McLaughlin. And the rebound pulled down by Peterson Dennis. Matt Doyle. O'Neal Gooden likes that move across the lane, missed the shot. And Marshall came up with the ball, but it's tie up. It'll go this time to the youngsters from Elmont on the alternate possession arrow.
Elmont so much quicker to the ball, but it's a game of position. And if the Generals really are determined to come up with the ball, they'll come up with their amount of rebounds. They have not lost any ball game off the board so far this season.
I beg your pardon. Obviously, it was the arrow pointing the other way. And this quickly up court, Messner missing the shot. The follow by Marshall, can't get it to drop, and Dennis with another rebound. Elmont has not scored here in the first 3 minutes and 40 seconds. And knocked away from Doyle. They'll push it up. Here's Waller on the break. Oh, good defense that time. Getting back was Roldan to knock it away, but not the guy maybe you want to run the break there, Garrett Waller.
Right, Garrett Waller could have thrown that ball out to the wing and spread out the defense, but what he did is he had an extra dribble, and that was the difference.
He was looking for Marshall, which was the right thing, but positioning on that break wasn't good, Stan.
Pacing, or what we call spacing. Spacing had to be very important, where you have to spread it out, but also speed of the middleman. He's got to get, when you don't have a lot of quickness, what you got to do is get rid of the ball.
That 10-point lead has been cut in half here, as they have not scored for the first 3 minutes. We're under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Elmont with the lead and the basketball. They led 14-5 at the quarter, 27-10 at the half. 27 to, let me correct that, 17 at the half. Now they're playing a patient offense. Roldan wants the ball at the high post.
Still haven't scored.
Doyle gets a pick, drives right, and gets fouled. So Matt Doyle, with his club having been held scoreless for the first 3 minutes and 32 seconds, will get a couple of foul shots here. McLaughlin picks up his third foul.
Again, a very patient offense. There's Matt Doyle trying to make it happen, not getting the shot but drawing the foul. But he is the man that I really like. The fact that Patrick Pierre is not here, I don't think the team has lost anything. They've won early in the end. In fact, their first game this season against, I don't know who it was against, but Patrick Pierre did not play, and they played I think it was Hewlett.
Again, off the miss. They have not scored again. That was a non-shooting foul. We thought they were going to call it a shooting foul. And Waller with the baseline shot. Garrett Waller averaging 10 points with 5. And suddenly that 10-point lead is down to 3. 7 straight points for the MacArthur Generals to open up this third quarter, Stan.
I've never seen a team shut out for a quarter, but we're going the last 4 minutes. It's the halfway mark of the third period, and the Spartans have not scored.
And Nelson Roldan has just picked up his 4th foul. A little happier look on the face of Tony Goss there as he talks to the official, Mr. Scheibel. And so with a chance with a 3-pointer to tie it here, or a 2-pointer to close within 1. They work it inside and they get the bucket.
Waller again on the baseline.
7 points for Waller. 4 here in the second half. It's a 1-point ball game.
Still shut out.
Doyle will try to change that. And Roldan with the rebound. We may be coming down to another cliffhanger.
It was pointed out to me, Barry, that yesterday Roosevelt shut out Roslyn for a quarter, but I have never seen a high school team shut out for a quarter.
And I think Dave Kingsley has just been hit with a technical foul by Joe Podair. Or is it a timeout? Let's wait and see.
Yeah,
I think it is a tee.
It's a tee on the bench.
Says, I got to tee those eyes. Tell the story. And interestingly enough, Brian Marshall will go to the free throw line. Marshall with 8 points. They've made this comeback, Stan. 9 straight points without Marshall scoring. And that's a good sign. And he'll get another one here. This free throw can tie it. So MacArthur, many people call it a one-dimension team, but they've scored 9 in a row without Marshall contributing. And he misses both. How unusual it is for Brian Marshall.
I mean, he made 25 of his last 28 free throws, and so many of those free throws were clutch. And he's got to worry about his tenure. Forget about the game, Coach.
And he was 4 for 4 before he missed those two. A chance to take the lead here. Out of the way. And Marshall over to Radini. Radini, great leadership on the court, the football quarterback. That's Marshall in the corner. Good defense by Peterson Dennis. Hustling play there. And a smart play that time by Tommy McLaughlin to throw the ball off one of the Elmont players as he was trapped along the sideline.
It's a great park move. That's a move you've used a lot of times. Did they throw it off you, Barry, or were you the guy that threw it off someone else?
McLaughlin, they say, a guy with the biggest heart. Not a lot of skills, Tommy. That's Tommy with the ball. Almost stolen away by Doyle. Doyle knocked it away. Radini recovers. McLaughlin with a push shot, and he puts it from in front. So Tommy McLaughlin, an 11-point run, Carl Reuter tells me.
And the lead for the first time.
Wow. And let's see what's made of these Elmont Spartans. Peterson Dennis looking inside. Back out to Doyle. Horn has not been in the ball game, Stan, here for a good part of the third quarter. Doyle forces it up, no good, and the Generals come up with the ball. Where is Desmond Horn, who had all their points in the first half?
Scored 8 points in the first half, I believe.
Messner lost it, but Waller recovered. And I'll tell you, Waller's got that low center of gravity. He's about 6 foot, about 190. And when he puts the ball down, it's tough to get around him. And he drew the foul. 4th foul on Peterson Dennis, and Elmont in some foul trouble right now. And Desmond Horn is going to come back in the ball game along with O'Neal Gooden. So their 2 big guys will come back into the ball game as Peterson Dennis sits down and Mark Leva.
It was Horn and Gooden that really dominated the boards in the first half.
And Joe Messner got him going with a couple of early hoops in that third quarter. Sits down, takes a rest. This guy doesn't rest. Brian Marshall as he draws a foul. And Stan, you know, yesterday Roslyn had 1 point in halftime. They had 1 point in the first quarter. It was scoreless in the second against Roosevelt, one of the wild, wacky games yesterday.
Well, let me tell you about Roosevelt, the only undefeated team in the county. They play tough defense. And that's what Elmont did in the first half of this ball game.
Here's McLaughlin again. He's hit 2 in a row.
Unbelievable game.
And the kid who's a defensive catalyst has 5 points, and they have run off 13 consecutive points. They were down by 10 at the half. They lead by 3. Here's the guy who had a hot hand in the first half, and as he went in baseline, Waller fouls him. It'll be a non-shooting foul. And on Waller, his first, as Dave Kingsley wonders when that first point of this third quarter is going to come.
I don't know what he's pondering, and I don't want to imagine. But he's got to make sure that these big guys get off the boards for him. And Gooden has got to be in. Horn's got to get ready.
Yeah, we talked about Messner, McLaughlin, 2 starters. Didn't have any points at halftime. They've led this third quarter comeback, those 2. It's not been Brian Marshall. That's the guy that's been the hot hand. Desmond Horn with 14 points, and he draws his club back within 1. So they break that 13-point run.
Now we're seeing a triangle and 1 again. Oh, they are playing. I'm going to tell you something. Number 51, take a look at him. He's doing a super. Nelson Roldan is doing an outstanding job physically on Brian Marshall. Now, he fouled Marshall, and if you're going to use your 5 fouls, you might as well use them well, and he used that last foul very well.
Second foul on Roldan, who's a defensive specialist, a role player. Became a starter in the 3rd game of the year. Cheerleaders here, enjoying the game. Hope you are at home, too. We've got a good one going now. Tightly played. And a great comeback by MacArthur here. Doyle with the steal, but recovered now by MacArthur. As MacArthur has in the ballgame Tommy Falkenthal, number 54. Out of bounds, it'll go, and it'll still be MacArthur ball. First time we see, check that, I beg your pardon, it is not Tommy Falkenthal. Back out, they'll play it. Open jumper. And it could not drop for Chrissy Tuart. Number 54 is Chris Brooks, a 5'11 junior who's in the ball game right now for MacArthur. So it's a chance for them to regain the lead here. They trail by a point with 45 seconds to go, and Doyle will give his club the lead. Danny Doyle with 10 points, his first bucket, and they now have a 31-30 lead.
The fact that they got their offense unhinged is the fact that they're moving to the basket, and that's what they've got to do. They've got to go to the steal.
Bad pass by Utord, and O'Neal Gooden puts it down to draw the thunderous reaction from the crowd. That will get them going.
That crowd has been quiet because of the fact that Elmont was not going to the glass, not going to the basket. They've changed, and they are doing it.
They have scored 6 in a row, the Spartans. Marshall loses it in the lane. Girardi says, "You're not going to wrestle that ball away from me." And with 2 seconds left, we have a tie-up.
You want to take a look at the sophomore? This is a super jam. Watch where he elevates. Takes off right from the foul line. There it is. A little bit of a step afterwards, but boy, was he over that rim.
2 seconds left. They'll roll it to Doyle. He'll get the shot off. Counts if it goes. And had a line drive going, but off the mark. So after blowing a 10-point halftime lead, the Spartans come back to lead 33-30 after 3. Well, another movie star in our midst here at Elmont High School. Where's Vinny Testaverde? You need him said. Hollywood Vinny Testaverde's girlfriend.
Tampa want to know where he was this year, too.
Well, Sewanaka very close to the area here, the Elmont-Sewanaka area, knocked away by Horn. And just as we said, where was Horn? He came back in the ball game,
You put
along
him
with
back
O'Neal
in, Coach.
Gooden, and that substitution
you put him
changed
in.
the game around.
I heard you say, where is he?
Well, working with you, Coach, I sense...
Desmond Horn, where is he? Coach picked up the vibes, put him in.
He's got a headset on over there, Dave Kinsley. All right, let's see what the Generals are made of here. This is Waller. Still Marshall has not gotten many scoring opportunities. Good pass to Waller. And as he went in the lane, travels. Girardi had his big body there. They forced him maybe to travel. I didn't see a travel there, though, Stan. Did you?
Oh, no, you don't. I saw it just where the official called it.
Oh, you're a good guy. 13th turnover. Doyle scoops it up, and Joe Cordero just dropped the basket. He was fouled. So Mac Doyle taking charge. It was his bucket that put his club in front, 31-30. And Dave Kingsley feels a little better about things now.
Take a look at Doyle going to the basket. The lacrosse player cradling that ball, ladling it off the glass.
8 straight points. 8 in a row for Doyle. As Caldwell reminds Stan Kellner about the lacrosse
terminology.
He won't be on Oxford at the end of the year.
He will not replace Kerry Gluck as our lacrosse specialist, folks. That's for sure.
A ladle is something you get
A ladle and a cradle.
Every time Carl learns something, it like doubles his knowledge.
Time out of the court right now. And the lead is 36-30. So, Corey Gospel is come down by 6. There we are. Those are the break.
Wait a minute. I never thought it was that thin.
Wait a minute.
Look at
That's not right.
Can we get a new
and he's
sponsor?
very young.
Can we get a new sponsor, Hair Replacement Center?
How about diet control? These are the ad-libs, Coach.
All right, you want to know scouting reports, folks. Let's
Here
zoom
they
in
are.
here.
This is the work we do.
You college coaches are watching. We can give you all the straight reports. And we hope Larry Ruff's enjoying things in the truck. We're having a ball here. And our thanks to the fine people here at Elmont High School. District Athletic Director Jack Salerno, the A-Day here, Ed Quinlan here at Elmont, and John Corio of Sewanaka and the other athletic directors making this doubleheader possible. What a beautiful young lady there, and what a nice, enthusiastic crowd we have here, Stan. What a great night. Reminds me of the days we were at Carl Place when we had the great fan reaction there.
We were watching a Delphi Post the other night, and that was exciting. We're getting into a high school excitement. It's just contagious.
Yes, there were a lot of people that enjoyed that game, Stan. Open in the corner, Marshall misses the shot. He'll follow it up. Strong to the hoop, and he gets the bucket.
It's big time right now, and that's where big people come forward, and primetime people are money people, and that is Brian Marshall.
First 2 points of the second half for Marshall, averaging 26. He has only 10 now. Coming off a brilliant 31-point effort in his last game. He scored 60 points in his last 2 games, Brian Marshall.
Good motion by Elmont.
Gooden with the move on Marshall, knocked away, recovered by Gooden. They missed the opportunity basket. O'Neal Gooden rims the basket. Doyle battling for it out of bounds off the hands of Matt Doyle. And with a deficit of 4, it'll be MacArthur ball.
Generals are putting a lot of people in the paint defensively to get the glass.
Try to break the pressure here. Good pass to Waller. Fouled and count the basket as Girardi got a piece of it.
Wow. There's Waller going again. Garrett Waller going to the basket. Going for the backboard, but ending up with a clean shot. There's Anthony Goss, and I'll tell you one thing about Anthony. He motivated his guys at halftime. He's got them playing offense. He's got them playing defense. He's got them running up the court.
Waller looking for double figures. He has 9 points. His average 10 on the year. This guy at 6 foot, not afraid to mix it up. Rimmed out, and Girardi with the rebound. Gives to Doyle. Let's see if Doyle takes over here along with Marshall. They're 2 primetime players. That's Gooden. And a reach-in foul. It would probably be a non-shooting foul. There's Dave Kingsley, the former Herrick star. Looks things over. He'll make a substitution here. He'll bring in Steve Core, who replaces another big guy, Girardi, who sits down. That's Horn in the corner. He was the big story in the first half, as he had 12 first-half points.
That's 3 by O'Neal Gooden.
And Gooden with the bucket. And the lead now is 5. Tuart back out. Tuart, a good outside shooter. He's not afraid to shoot it. Forces that up, no good. Strong rebound. Waller blocked by Gooden. McLaughlin not afraid to mix it up. I'll tell you, these are tough kids from MacArthur. They'll go up in the paint. They may get rejected, but they'll keep coming back and scrapping.
Well, Coach says that McLaughlin does 110% off the boards, and he's the kind of a kid that gets the break points. But here he is on the other side, getting the rebound. Not that one, that's Waller inside. But here's the opportunity rebound. Look how he drops the ball, drop steps to the basket to draw the foul. Knowing full well he's got Gooden and Horn that he has to face.
Well, MacArthur not shooting that well from the line. And now 1 for 3 at the line. But there was a line violation against Leva.
And you get the 1-on-1. You still continue with the 2 shots.
So he'll get 2 right now. And at the line, Tommy McLaughlin, the fine lacrosse player. Leva was called for the violation. And again, poor form by McLaughlin, shooting only 61%. We told you in league play they've been averaging 75, but beginning of the year they were horrible. They lost a lot of close games. They lost to your alma mater, Hicksville, by a point because of poor free throw shooting. To Bethpage by 5 because of poor shooting. And to Harborfield by 3 also because of poor fouls.
But they won their last 2 ball games because of great free throw shooting.
Well, by 1 guy, Brian Marshall, but he wasn't on the line right there.
Excellent observation, Barry.
5-point lead for the Spartans of Elmont. Both teams 3 and 2 in league play. Dish off to Horn, and he rolls it in. Good pass from Gooden from the wing.
Drawing the defensive man out and just shoveling that ball inside.
18 points for Desmond Horn. Tuart fouled by Core as he did that little stutter step move.
Take a look at the shovel pass inside. Gooden inside to number 33, Desmond Horn, who has absolutely playing big time inside.
Desmond Horn came in averaging 14 points. What a turnaround, Stan, from the game we saw him play against Sewanwick when he had 1 point. If he played this big against the big guy Hamilton, it might not have been a 22-point blowout.
He's got to get involved in the game, and what's happened so far, the Spartans have been playing, getting the ball inside to the big people.
Tuart, a bad free throw shooter, hits that one, shooting only 37% from the line, but Chris will get that one and get another one here. It's a 6-point deficit. They led by 3, 30-27. Now trailing 41-36, down to 5. And Tony Goss with his club down by 5 makes a substitution. He'll sit down Chrissy Tuart. So up front they go with Messner back in the ball game. Messner, Waller, and McLaughlin. Rudini and Marshall play the backcourt defensively.
A little Russian roulette here. This can backfire.
Elmont turnover prone at times this year, and without their point guard again, Patrick Pierre knocked away off the steal. McLaughlin tries to recover. Wisely gives it back to Waller. That's the man they want with the ball. Good baseline move, and he gets fouled. Brian Marshall will go to the line to shoot 2.
What's happening is Elmont's playing the clock. They're pulling it out on the 4 corners and getting very deliberate. And what happens is then you start defending. And I'm going to tell you this, Barry, it's easier to attack, and Carl Reuter knows this. It's easier to attack than defend.
We'll see O'Neal Gooden pick up his 4th foul here, number 41.
Watch the big guy go to the basket. And he's money from the free throw line in the 4th quarter, Brian. Marshall.
Remember, he missed those 2 free throws earlier, but now 5 for 7 at the line. He has 11 points in the ball game. Far below his season average, but he is Mr. Money when it's crunch time. Both he and Doyle just love the pressure stand. They're great kids that way.
And isn't it interesting how the ball gravitates to these guys?
It's a 3-point ball game. Doyle. Horn. Doyle. Rolled off. Marshall yanks the rebound down. Up court they go. This is Waller. He had Messner underneath. Waller takes it all the way, and Gooden rejects it. And out of bounds, it'll go over to Elmont. They say it was off McLaughlin in the corner.
What a great deflection inside by...
And he's arguing the call. Tony Goss can't believe it. I don't know if the officials are going to change it now. Joe Poder is over there talking to Dave Kingsley. Let's look at it on the replay here. Did it go off McLaughlin 10? Keep an eye on McLaughlin.
There's O'Neal.
Nope.
Good knocking it out of bounds.
That was O'Neal. All right, good call. They changed it. Here's Marshall. No foul there. He lost the handle. Threw it up. Here's Doyle, his club leading by 3. Gooden will get the roll. So O'Neal Gooden with the bucket. And the lead is 5. 8 points for Gooden, and the Spartan fans happy. Waller back the other way. Short. Saves it. But it's picked up by Doyle. He had Horn down court. Doyle will take it all the way and put it in. 4 straight points, and Doyle now with 15. And suddenly it's a 7-point lead. Marshall. Rudini banks it up, no good. And the rebound, O'Neal Gooden. What's happening?
You can see out of control. Out of control. It's like the floor is being tilted and everybody's sliding down the court with a red uniform on. On the other hand, you can see Matt Doyle playing within himself. 8 speed, 7 speed, controlling the tempo of the game and the offense.
Doyle looking inside. Great pass, and Gooden couldn't convert it. Inside, Gooden again. Oh no, O'Neal Gooden now in double figures with 10. 6 straight points. And timeout taken by MacArthur, but it may be too late, Stan, because the Generals have fallen behind by 9. Dave Kingsley's club on a roll.
2 things that happened in that quarter that brought Spartans down. One, Barry, is when you made the substitution of getting Horn and Gooden back in the ballgame. Barry, you did a good job on that. And the other was a T on the coach, Kingsley.
Timeout on the court. We'll be back with the remaining part of this exciting game. Well, the MacArthur Generals, a scrappy team. They've not quit, down by 9 as they've just seen Elmont run off 6 in a row. Looking at the Elmont scoring, Horn leading the way with 18, Gooden 10, Doyle 15, and Dennis 4. For MacArthur, Marshall with 12, McLaughlin 5, Messner with 4, Tuart 6, Waller 9, and Rodini with 2. And Waller will hit a big jump shot.
2 phases on a recovery. One is you got to make the shot, and the other is you got to press up and create turnovers. If they're going to sit back in a man-to-man, they're not going to be able to win this ball game.
Twice they've come back. They were down by 10 at the half and actually took a 3-point lead late in the 3rd quarter. Look for the steal. Great play by Rodini.
What a super play.
Blocked. They're going to get a foul on Doyle. A foul on Doyle, but what an effort by number 52. Hope we get another look at that one. What a play by Bobby Rudini, the football player.
There's a matchup man-to-man. Rudini comes in there, and what he does is he jumps. It's a run and jump. And there's the save. It looks pretty clean, but with a trailing official, you got to make a call, and it's a good call because it controls the excitement and emotion of a ball game that could get out of hand at any time.
First trip to the line for Messner, shooting only 50% from the line. Joe has 4 points, averaging 8, a high of 16 against Hicksville in the opening game of the year.
Joe's responsibility usually in ball games is to play the opponent's best, but right now, a great man has to evolve from the free throw line, and Joe Messner, who only shoots makes half his shots from the free throw line, 50%.
Well, we mentioned this club has shot free throws well in league play. Trying to come back here, they miss it. Ball tap. Waller inside. Marshall. Oh, that's a big bucket that he wasn't able to convert.
He converted on those shots all season long.
I got the rebound into the corner. Garrett Waller got it, and they weren't able to convert on the Marshall miss, and a foul stops the clock with 2:40 to go. But a lot of time with the bonus situation now in effect.
Two young coaches.
Yeah,
I love to see the baton being passed off.
31-year-old Dave Kingsley and Anthony Goss, 28.
Great to see. And these guys have put in their time, Barry.
Absolutely. They've been assistant coaches.
Assistant coach, JV, freshman, and now they get the opportunity for the Big Apple.
Gooden with 11 points. He's 2 for 3 at the line, averaging 15, a high of 22 against New Hyde Park. This kid will be a big-time player, they feel. Nice stroke there. And the lead now is back to 8. 49-41. Hope you've enjoyed the action here. McLaughlin. Marshall trapped, double teamed in the corner. They've done a good job.
Absolutely in his face the entire game.
McLaughlin throws it away, trying to get to Messner in the corner. And that's the 14th turnover. Dave Kingsley barking out signals. And his team throws it away. So Peterson Dennis overthrowing Horn, and the turnover gives the ball right back to MacArthur. Trailing by 8 with 2:27 to go here at Elmont High School. These clubs have not played each other in the past. We'll get a timeout. Interesting enough that MacArthur stand moving into this league, which has some tough teams. Belmore JFK, the defending champion. You know, you look at this league, Great Neck South,
Sewanaka,
and Sewanaka both coming in to play tonight, 5-0, 9-1 in regular season overall play.
Get on the press now, man to man. We're still up on you side. You side. You take it out. Guard. Wing. Help out, guys, right? Let them set the kick after about 1 or 2 counts. Break up to the foul line, sideline wise. Once you get the ball, break in, get it back in the hole, and we'll walk it up. Let's set up our Delphi, okay? A Delphi. No shot unless you get a layup. No shot unless you get a layup, okay? No turnover. If you get trapped, call timeout.
That's being true to your school. He's got an offense called the Delphi, which he probably picked up from Mark Kessler. But what he was thinking about was defense. They've got to play good defense. Certainly they've got to be able to keep somebody on Brian Marshall. And Dave Kingsley has been doing a nice job rotating fresh legs and hands on Brian Marshall through the entire game.
All right, stand ready to go here. And the ball will be inbounded by Marshall. McLaughlin, they need every possession to count here. Marshall, good penetration.
And he got hit. But there was not an official that really could see it.
14 for Marshall, and it's back to a 6-point lead with 2:12 to go. So they've held Marshall at just about half his average in the year. 12 points underneath his average. Peterson Dennis guarded by McLaughlin. They need to force a turnover here.
That's a Delphi. It's a stall.
Doyle, an excellent ball handler. Underneath to O'Neal, Gooden batted around, and Messner comes up with it. Marshall will push it up court. Looks for an open man. Waller, bad pass. Bad pass by Waller. But it'll be recovered by Rudini in the backcourt. 1:35 to go, down by 6. McLaughlin inside Marshall, gets fouled, and he'll go to the line. That stops the clock with 1:30. Now, this MacArthur club, with the exception of Brian Marshall, not a three-point shooting team, Stan. Marshall has 9 threes.
There's several ways of shooting threes, though, Barry. One way is going to the basket and going to make your bucket and getting fouled. See, that's a way of making it. That's the old-fashioned way of earning it. And this kid, although he's not super quick, he doesn't have that Division I step. He draws the foul.
Dennis Peterson fouled out of the game with that last foul, and Mark Leva will come in. Here's where they may miss a Patrick Pierre, Stan. The leadership in the backcourt, closing seconds, and an excellent free throw shooter.
Well, I'll tell you, you can't top the job Matt Doyle's done. Matt Doyle has done everything that a point guard should be doing in a game like this.
Marshall 6 for 8 at the line. 15 points. They've held his field goal down, and he converts another one. It's a 4-point game with 1:30 to go. And if you're a MacArthur fan, here we go again with these cliffhangers. They've won their last 2 games in the closing seconds on free throws. They force a scramble on the floor. They get the ball. Here's McLaughlin. Throws it away. Messner trying to save it, does, to McLaughlin. He's in trouble there. Scramble for that ball. And Leva comes up with it. Throws it off Messner. And who's the ball going to go to? It's going to go to Elmont. What a heady play by Mark Leva.
It's the same play we saw earlier in the ball game. Out of control, you throw it off the defensive player. Both teams playing so aggressive on the ball.
My kind of play, Stan.
Oh, really?
I didn't have the hands to handle the ball, so I just threw it off somebody. Here's Doyle with 1:05 to go. Larry Ruff's kind of play, too. Larry, the little guy out there in the court. O'Neal Gooden. Bodied by Waller. They force a steal here. Here's Marshall. Gooden will try to block it. He misses. And look at that scrap for the ball. Marshall fouled by Leva. I tell you, Stan, these teams may be playing some football out here, but it's exciting basketball, too.
Well, let's credit the officials, Joe Scheibel and Joe Padere, for letting these kids play.
And Brian Marshall, a familiar spot at the line again. It was his 2 free throws that cut it to 4. He'll get a chance to cut it to 2 here. 8 for 10 at the line, and now he misses that one. Oh, tough luck for Brian Marshall. They've got to force a turnover here. They're down by 4. That's the man you want to have the ball, Doyle. And O'Neal Gooden fouled by Waller. And that'll stop the clock. So O'Neal Gooden will go to the line, only a 50% free throw shooter. So Gooden will go to the free throw line here. And he has a word with his coach, Tony Goss. Calmly and quietly looks on. What a job he's done. The second-year coach. 4 for 5, Mr. Gooden at the line for a guy shooting 50%, Stan. But under pressure, misses this one. Tap back out, and MacArthur has another chance here. Down by 4. Waller almost walks.
Almost.
Marshall will penetrate. Strip to the ball. Scramble, McLaughlin going after it. And a foul. Joe Podere calling a foul. Who's it going to be against? It appears to be against O'Neal Gooden. And he fouls out with that foul, I believe. Let's wait and see. He goes to the bench right now. He thinks he's got 5 fouls. And he will sit down. Frustrating game for him. What a game he played, especially on the boards and scoring here in the second half.
Oh, the game would not have been an Elmont win, if it is an Elmont win, without Mr. O'Neal Gooden. He is absolutely a player of the present and future.
Dennis Sherrard will report into the ball game for Gooden. We're not quite sure if he has fouled out. Maybe we can check into that. We had him for 4 fouls, but he sat down right away appearing like, hey, I'm out of the game.
Uh-huh.
So we'll find out. He did foul out. Joe Podere, the omnipotent official, tells us that.
We're going to look to foul who in particular? Anybody but Doyle. So let's try to double Doyle and deny him all. Double that, deny him the basketball chase. Don't get the inbound shot, don't double Doyle. There you go. Okay? The double Doyle.
No, in the face.
We're not going to let him see the ball. Anybody else, you got to reach now. It's got to be a reach. That thing touch it. Okay, it's got to be the reach. Come on. Go now, man. Go now.
You know, there are no accidents in sports. You got Tony Goss, the 2-year coach there at MacArthur, and you can see the intensity. You can see the link, the connection between him and his players, all on the same page, Barry. And I'll tell you, that is a rare experience. I really enjoy it, and that's what I miss most of coaching.
Good point, Stan. Right now, Tommy McLaughlin with the pressure on this gutty lacrosse player. He has 5 points, all here in the second half. Not a good free throw shooter. 1 for 4 at the line. Out of bounds, and the ball goes over to Elmont. So Tony Goss's club, which has won some games, these close games on free throws, misses that one. Tommy McLaughlin, they'll have to come up with a steal here or a foul. They can't let the clock tick down, and Gerard is fouled by Waller. They don't want a deliberate foul here.
John Valenti.
And Dennis Gerard will go to the free throw line, the sophomore, the little 5'9" sophomore.
Himself.
So he's going to have a little pressure on him. Elmont leads by 4, 49-45. They led by 10 at halftime and saw that lead erased. They trailed by 3, 30-27, but regained the lead after 3. And now leading by 4. Gerard with the first. He's got it. Not bad to get your first point. Pressure time for the little sophomore.
Yeah, he's definitely the point guard of the future with Patrick Pierre graduating and Matt Doyle. You're going to see number 44 running the club
Stepping
next year.
up right now under pressure. Hits 1 of 2. And it goes now. They need 2 possessions here. Down by 5. Will do it. Marshall look at the tight defense. He couldn't shoot it. Good pass inside. Rudini misses. And that should do it. Leva knocked it out of his hand. And it'll be a foul called on Rudini. But Rudini missing the layup. And with 8 seconds to go, it's academic right now. It appears that Tony Goss's club's 3-game winning streak will come to an end. And Dave Kingsley says, hey, I've been through a war here.
Yeah, it's a hard profession.
Well, pretty even ball game, Stan. 2 3-2 clubs coming in, scratching and clawing. And Elmont's going to come out 4-2, but they had to earn this one against the scrappy MacArthur team.
You know, the Spartans just put into overdrive whenever they needed a surge.
I'd leave it back with it. 5 seconds to go. Over to Gerard. He'll shoot it anyway, and it's over. And the Elmont Spartans go to 6-4 overall. And they come away with a hard-fought, well-earned victory. And O'Neal Gooden, along with Desmond Horn and Matt Doyle, some of the key players. And Dave Kingsley congratulating the coaching staff of MacArthur. First time these clubs have met, first time these coaches really have met, and they're going to have a good rivalry, it seems.
Dave Kingsley, before the ballgame, said, I never even saw this guy, Brian Marshall, play, but he had a defense designed. He changed up a lot of times, and he just did a nice job as a coach. I thought that technical could have turned his ball club around.
Good point. That's the story. We'll be back with our post-game wrap-up right after this. The Spartans victorious over the Generals.